Today we need to get into BTS members' last words and their final goodbye. We need to get into people saying that Jimmy Fallon would be emotional over Jimin's enlistment and his bald head, and then we have a company being protested. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on, grab your dumpling, tastefully muck merch, and let's go. We need to talk about something a bit crazy and something I couldn't believe actually happened. Often when I hear these things, I tend to wonder if other people are hearing the same thing I am hearing, because I often hear racism and other people just think it's very normal comments to make. So what happened recently? The New York Times apparently has a podcast, and their podcast was recently under fire after the host made some comments about Jungkook. So what did she say? She talked about how Jungkook sounds very similar to Justin Timberlake, but since the album Golden is an English album, why was this necessary? And then says repeatedly that they could watch Justin Timberlake as Justin Timberlake and don't need to watch a Korean guy do it. And I think this is completely tone deaf to the state of the world right now. And I have a point that I didn't see many people make. People were saying that art is always inspired by their predecessors. So you have Gaga, and before that you had Madonna. And we can go on and on about what artists might have been inspired by the artists before them. You can say the very same thing about why anyone would watch Gaga if Madonna is still alive and still making music. And others would argue and say, well, their talents and skill levels are different. I would also argue and say Jungkook and Justin Timberlake's skills are vastly different. I don't think Justin is a great dancer, or at least not similarly trained as Jungkook is. The point that I didn't see people make was that before anyone complained about K-pop artists copying American artists and people saying that it's cut and paste just with an Asian face, which is not true with Jungkook, but let's play devil's advocate. If that was true and was exactly what was happening, that is still important. That still needs to happen. And this is so beyond the argument of, oh, it's unoriginal art, who cares about which race is singing it? That is the part that matters, that there never has been this big of an Asian artist that was similar to another big artist. Representation is a big part of why BTS is where they are now. They not only represent Korean culture in a fabulous way, but their representation is exactly why people are such diehard fans, because they not only represent Koreans, but are making Koreans look absolutely amazing and talented. To combine both points, art is definitely inspired by older art, so I don't see this idea that just because one artist exists, there can't be similar or even copies of that artist. To also claim or insinuate that just because Jungkook may be similar to Justin, that there is no reason to watch Jungkook is absolutely crazy. Because Jungkook, even if it was similar, which it's not, Jungkook brings very different things to the table. He is not cut and paste. The representation is automatically a thing where we have to consider, and then to completely discount his singing ability, dancing ability, and everything to say that his art is only original when it's him singing in Korean, that is very untrue. Because what makes him original is not the language, it's the several years of training he had. And it makes it even more sad when we realize we might not see the boys anymore for a little while. Recently, if you are not aware, HYBE announced that the members will start to enlist, and basically that Jimin and Jungkook are going to be companions. This doesn't necessarily mean that they will enlist at the same time, but it just means they'll both be in the same camp. Typically, soldiers can request a buddy to stick with during their entire enlistment, and it seemed like they picked each other. Then V and RM apparently will be enlisting separately. The remaining 4 boys recently just had a live stream where they were being super cheerful and happy. I don't see that at this point any of the members would actually be sad. They know that they're coming back and they got a chance to really fulfill their solo stuff before they leave. They don't see this as a career-ending thing, nor do they believe everything is going to be over. So we shouldn't either. Everyone was being super cheerful as they probably feel excited that they are going to embark on this new adventure, and it's going to be a beautiful one. They will learn and grow a lot. The boys also show some new hair. V's hair was cut very short. RM's hair has been cut short, so that was very easy. And then Jimin has refused to show his baldness, so he hasn't cut it at all. I believe he has mentioned that he doesn't want ARMY to see him in that light and wants to keep his image a specific way. Jungkook did shave his head and decided to wear a hoodie the entire time as to not show it. However, during the end of the stream, when everyone was saying goodbye, Jungkook did a very quick run by, like he literally ran by the camera, and ARMY's then slowed it down want to see what he was covering up, and people saw that it appeared his head is entirely shaved. So this definitely means he is not promoting anymore. He is done, and with the shaved head, there's not much left promoting he can do. ARMYs were getting extremely emotional after realizing that this would not only be one of the last live streams of the BTS members for a while, but this will be the last time we hear their goodbye. And this is likely very true. We aren't going to see too many of them live, as any content that we will likely see of them is going to be content that is pre-recorded and likely stuff before they cut their hair. Things like what we have been seeing with Jin having a pre-recorded video coming out every few months during special occasions. However, there is likely not going to be any new content coming out, and they obviously cannot live stream. However, I wouldn't see this as a goodbye, but just an opportunity to take a break. Let them live their life for a little bit. They will of course be posting on social media, as we've seen with Jin and J-Hope, so take this as just them getting a chance to be normal people. I'm sure that it is extremely refreshing to see them in a more normal light, and I'm sure more Korean men will be able to relate to them after seeing how they are in the military. And this action will also be very encouraging for those young men who might feel insecure or scared of going. People think that a lot of the people who are close to the BTS members feel some type of way about the boys leaving. People have talked about what possibly is going to be the emotions of Jimmy Fallon when Jimin leaves the military. Jimmy Fallon recently just posted a video singing like crazy and has also shown Jimin so much love on the show. It's clear that Jimin is his bias of the group. People think that Jimmy likely got emotional after hearing that Jimin will enlist, or even just the idea of what a bald head would mean. However, this is not something that a lot of people in the industry see as a big deal, because the members will still be around and they're not dead. They can still come back home during the weekends, and if Jimin and Jimmy were close, they could definitely still keep in touch with each other. I also think it's interesting when people think that the celebrities who like BTS or interact with them are such diehard fans that the idea of BTS leaving to do anything will cause the other celebrities physical pain. To be honest, those celebrities probably don't think much of it. I don't mean this in a bad way, but a lot of people in the industry can be pretty cold, and again, not in a bad way. That's just how they are, because the industry rips people apart. Also, the industry makes people very selfish, because if you're not, you could lose your career and everything you work for. A lot of celebrities, especially the ones that BTS has worked with, have businesses outside of just music, meaning they're CEOs and don't have time to even focus on what maybe their siblings or relatives are doing, let alone their friends. And then the last point I would like to make is that friends who can't speak the same language, it's very difficult to actually get close to them. You just can't. You can't connect on a deeper level when there's no communication. That is the most important thing in a relationship. And those who have relationships where it's in a different language or don't talk much are somewhat surface level relationships. Do you know anything about the other person? A lot of male friendships are like this. And so when BTS members are enlisting or going away, it can be painful from a friendship standpoint, but on a deeper level, no, I don't think Jimmy Fallon is sitting there crying over Jimin or BTS members enlisting. It's probably more a thing where he might just wish them well, and if he really wants to, he can send a gift basket. People do believe that Jimin will have a bald head picture soon, as the news could likely take some photos of Jimin at the camp, or it would just come out on the military app. However, since Jimin said that he doesn't want these photos seen, people are then gathering to say that they will report any photo that shows him bald. I think this is ridiculous. He obviously is joking, and I'm sure he is very aware that there's nothing he can do to prevent this bald head from being shown. So just look at it and move on. If you see it, there's no reason to spam, email Hybe, or report it. Just a waste of time, and not something that Jimin probably would want you to even spend 3 seconds thinking about. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.